Hi, Aunt Jacqueline. This is Harry. Happy 90th birthday. I made a little special present for you. I made up a story that's based on what I remember hearing about and seeing that would represent your childhood. And I've named it Aunt Jacqueline's Friends and Neighborhood. Goes like this. There stands a sycamore tree on Fisher Avenue near the street, on the property line between the tank and the DeFazio houses. The Goldonis live next door to the left, both good neighbors. If that tree could talk, it could tell the whole story. It was beneath the overhanging branches of that tree where our dear Aunt Jacqueline spent her early years. We all came along a little bit later, but I'm sure that much of what she saw as she grew up, many of us also saw before it went away. In a way, time stood still in the 40s and early 50s. Daily life was in a beautiful bubble. Aunt Jacqueline smiles when I talk about these days, so I will ramble on because I love it when she smiles. I'm imagining what Fisher Avenue, Forest East, Pingree Park, St. Catharines scene looked like to her as a young child. Let's talk and take a walk. Just sitting on the tank screened-in porch, the parade traveling up and down Fisher Avenue looked like this. The Iceman, coal delivery man, the knife sharpening man on foot with his grinding wheel, the blind fuller brush man, the vegetable truck, and the sheeny man with his horse-drawn cart. Strolling from the tank home and approaching the corner of Forest and Fisher, the first thing to notice was the sound of the electric streetcars rumbling on the steel tracks, with the overhead electrical wires showering sparks onto the street. Neither Grandma or Grandpa drove. As I remember, Aunt Jacqueline, you called them Ma and Pa. They took the streetcar, Grandpa to work at Packard's and Grandma occasionally to the Eastern Market. One day Grandma took me to the Eastern Market and picked out 2 live chickens which were summarily butchered and plucked. We brought them home wrapped in newspaper. I witnessed this firsthand, so it was an accurate account, and I also carried the chickens home. All day the streetcars would stop at the corner of Fisher and Forest, just in front of Mike's malt shop. Mike had 14 round red seats along a classic lunch counter. Mike sold malted milkshakes, Coke, Vernors, sandwiches, snacks, candy, cigarettes, and chewing gum. I used to go to Mike's and buy Redman or Lieberman chewing tobacco for Grandpa and Beeman's chewing gum. He said Beeman's Pepsin chewing gum was good for the digestion. I'm guessing that maybe Jacqueline did the same. And Jacqueline, did you like Beeman's? Assuming that you were not chewing tobacco at the time. What happened at Mike's was amazing. People would come off the streetcar from work downtown or off the avenue with bags of groceries and say hi, talk personal and political, sit at the lunch counter, smoke cigarettes inside. Mike's was a meeting place. I was 5 or 6 years old at Mike's. I was talking to a cool man dressed in black. Now I know, like Marlon Brando. He also had a black leather hat with a short brim. He said he had a motorcycle outside. He showed it to me. I remember that he called it an Indian. It was all dressed out with black leather seat, saddlebags, and tassels. I asked him if he would take me for a ride. He said, "Sure, kid, but you have to ask your mother if it would be okay." I told him I just lived 6 houses down the street. I'll run down there and get my mom to come outside. He took off on the Indian. It was magnificent. I ran down Fisher Avenue to get my mom. I got Mom to come out to the street. Marlon Brando came roaring up to the curb in the front of our house. Mom said, "No." Sort of like it'll shoot your eye out, kid. Now, years later, wondering if she thought of hopping on the motorcycle herself. Now, I'm just kidding, so please, it goes no further than this. Walking up Forest, the next stop was the Edelhawk Bakery. The Edelhawks lived just a few doors down from the tanks on Fisher. Just imagine, the bakery at the end of the street was owned by your neighbor, family friends. Mr. Edelhawk had a Charlie Chaplin-style mustache. They gave me cherry thumbprint cookies every time I made a visit. Their daughter Thekla was Aunt Jacqueline's dear lifelong friend. I imagine that he gave Jacqueline and Thecla cookies too. The next stop was Joe Ritter's Butcher Shop, another neighbor. The next stop, just before the alley, a fresh fruit and vegetable market. I forget the name, but I remember the smell of the fresh vegetables and oranges mixed with the unique smell of the alley. We took the orange crates from the garbage and made things. Across the alley, Marie Gervais' dry goods and penny candy store. When Jack and I would stop in, she would give us squirrels and blackjacks to gently get us to leave. Marie was a family friend for years after she closed her store. Across the street from Marie Gervais was Joe Valoli's gas station. Grandpa Tank worked there for a while after his retirement. That was another place where serious conversations happened between strangers. Turning around and walking on Forest towards downtown, between Burns and Iroquois sits Pingree Park. I'm guessing that you, Aunt Jackie, went to kindergarten at Hilger Elementary right there in the park. If you did, I know the room with the high ceiling that you were in. Then on to St. Catherine's, first grade, all the way to the 12th. If you had gone to public school, you would have gone to Barber Intermediate School on Canfield in the park, but St. Catherine's was better. Aunt Jacqueline, do you remember your first and second grade being in what they called the Guardian Angel Hall? That was actually the basement of St. Catherine's Church. Do you have memories of playing in Pingree Park? They actually had a public cement swimming pool there, which closed when polio arrived. And on Iroquois, in a house facing Pingree Park, lived your Prince Charming, Pete Kilkline. He also went to St. Catherine's, and as legend tells it, he was handsome, smart, and a star on the St. Catherine's football team.
Sundays.
For church and family. Stores were closed. People all dressed up, walking to church. Hot summer nights on Fisher were magic. Everyone out on their front porch. Next door to DeFazio's, men speaking Italian, Latvians speaking Latvian, Poles speaking Polish, Germans speaking German, all mixing together, all trying to speak English. Many of them came after World War II. I think they were called DPs. The street was happening. It was vibrant, electric. The din of the conversations and laughter was music that cannot happen today. Air conditioners, TV, and computers closed the doors on that life and locked us inside. In the summer of 1954, you and your friend Audrey Gorky took Jack and me and some other kids to see Three Coins in the Fountain. Audrey was fun and very nice to us. As I remember, she cracked her knuckles. I think the theater was near Forest and McClellan. We moved to Harper Woods in the fall of 1954. Harper Woods was very nice and a wonderful new world. But having had the Fisher experience, it never really had the onomatopoeia that is Fisher Avenue. Aunt Jacqueline, I hope you are smiling. Happy birthday. Love, Harry.